Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Whispers in NFL circles have been growing louder, and now it seems like Washington has officially made a move that could send shockwaves through the league. Sources hint, and some insiders almost cheerfully confirm, that the franchise has locked down one of the most sought-after defensive talents on the market, edge All-Pro Trey Hendrickson. For a team whose defensive line has struggled to generate consistent pressure and create chaos in the backfield over recent seasons, this is nothing short of a renaissance. Fans, who have endured seasons of near misses and frustrated sighs, are suddenly buzzing with renewed hope. Imagine the locker room vibe as Hendrickson, known for his relentless motor and high football IQ, steps into the huddle with Washington veterans who have long awaited a game-changing presence on the edge. Rumors suggest that the signing was a calculated orchestration, perhaps the culmination of months of negotiations where Washington's front office, hungry for a defensive identity, pulled every string possible. There's speculation the contract structure balances immediate impact with long-term flexibility, keeping the team competitive without mortgaging the future. Observers note that Hendrickson's arrival isn't just about sacks. It's about mentorship, scheme versatility, and a psychological edge over divisional rivals who will now have to prepare for a nightmare they may not have anticipated. The city is bracing itself, social media is exploding, and even casual observers are asking, is Washington finally scary again? This is the kind of move that doesn't just make headlines. It shifts the narrative of a franchise, giving fans and critics alike something to talk about late into the night. Insiders are already painting vivid pictures of how Washington's defensive alignments might evolve with Hendrickson on board. The chatter revolves around aggressive edge-rushing schemes, stunts, and twists designed to maximize his unique skill set. Analysts hint at the potential for him to act as a game-changer against high-powered offenses, flipping momentum in ways the team hasn't seen in years. The locker room dynamic is expected to shift dramatically as teammates adjust to a new hierarchy and the presence of a player who commands respect both for his on-field production and off-field professionalism. Word on the street is that the coaching staff is thrilled, envisioning scenarios where Hendrickson not only racks up sacks, but also creates turnovers, pressures quarterbacks into bad decisions, and opens lanes for Washington's secondary to make game-altering plays. Fans are already speculating about matchups with division rivals, wondering how Tampa Bay, Dallas, or Philadelphia will handle a force that consistently disrupts the pocket. Some rumors even suggest that other free agents are reconsidering their options, seeing Washington as a destination that now means business. Social media is alive with mock draft comparisons, fantasy projections, and gifs of Hendrickson in his prime moments, teasing what could become a defining chapter for Washington's defense. The general sentiment is that the team has transitioned from hopeful mediocrity to legitimate threat, and the whispers are no longer confined to fan forums. They're becoming mainstream speculation that could dominate sports talk shows for weeks. For many, this isn't just a signing. It's a statement, a signal that Washington is rewriting the defensive playbook and aiming to recapture an aura of dominance that had been missing for far too long. Rumors surrounding Hendrickson's move to Washington are thick with intrigue, and the narrative being spun by insiders hints at more than just on-field production. Speculative sources suggest that the front office sees him as a cultural pivot, someone capable of influencing younger players and instilling a relentless mindset that has been missing from the team's defensive core. The word is that meetings behind closed doors emphasized leadership qualities almost as much as sack totals, creating a story where the signing becomes symbolic of a larger organizational commitment to excellence. Analysts are already projecting how opponents will adjust their offensive lines and schemes to counter this newfound threat, with whispers of game-planning nightmares where quarterbacks are forced into hurried decisions, running backs are left exposed, and tight ends must contend with a player whose motor never quits. Social platforms are filled with speculative takes, mock interviews, and playful debates over what jersey number Hendrickson should wear, blending fandom with genuine excitement. There's also gossip about potential domino effects, where this signing could influence future trades, draft strategies, and even coaching hires, as rival teams scramble to respond. The rumor mill suggests that Washington's defense is poised not just for improvement, but for a dramatic metamorphosis, where Hendrickson's presence acts as the linchpin for an aggressive, dominant identity. Casual viewers and hardcore fans alike are dissecting game footage, imagining scenarios where Hendrickson disrupts rival offenses, and speculating on how the defense will rise from the shadows of mediocrity into a feared unit. The narrative has a cinematic quality, a tale of redemption and resurgence, where Washington's defense could emerge from a quiet offseason into a spectacle of strategic brilliance. The buzz has transformed from mere speculation to a palpable excitement that makes every preseason conversation about the team feel like a high-stakes thriller. Sources familiar with the negotiations hint that Washington's pursuit of Hendrickson was deliberate, meticulous, and wrapped in layers of strategy that extend far beyond the surface of a typical free agent signing. Industry insiders are murmuring that the team's scouts had been monitoring Hendrickson's progress for years, tracking not only sack metrics but subtle aspects of play like hand usage, leverage, and adaptability to various offensive schemes. According to some of the whispers circulating among journalists and former players, the discussions reportedly involved multiple front office executives who debated contract structures, cap implications, and long-term sustainability while ensuring that the acquisition would not jeopardize other roster-building opportunities. The narrative being quietly propagated hints at a calculated vision, where Hendrickson becomes the cornerstone of a defense that aims to dominate not only statistically but psychologically, forcing opposing quarterbacks to rethink every snap. Social media chatter portrays fans as both hopeful and conspiratorial, dissecting rumored clauses, bonuses, and incentive triggers, creating a shared experience of anticipation and intrigue. Speculation extends to how his presence could influence coaching decisions, from defensive coordinators plotting complex pressure schemes to positional coaches refining techniques that maximize Hendrickson's strengths. There's even talk that rival front offices are nervously evaluating their own rosters, considering whether similar moves are necessary to keep pace. Amid this murmur of speculation, the city of Washington itself is experiencing a renaissance of defensive optimism, with a palpable sense that the tides may have shifted dramatically, and the team is poised to reassert its identity in a manner that fans haven't witnessed for years. Even casual observers are starting to buy into the story, imagining a defense that once struggled to make headlines now at the center of every narrative, a true force to be reckoned with as the season approaches. The buzz surrounding Hendrickson's move has taken on an almost mythical quality in some circles, with fans, analysts, and insiders spinning scenarios that extend beyond mere football metrics into the realm of identity and legacy. According to whispered reports, the edge rusher is expected to bring more than just raw talent. He's said to inject an intensity that permeates practice sessions, film study, and team meetings, creating a culture shift that could redefine Washington's defensive ethos. Rumors indicate that teammates are eager to embrace his presence, viewing him as both a mentor and a catalyst capable of elevating everyone around him, from seasoned veterans to younger prospects who have long sought guidance and inspiration. Speculative narratives suggest that Hendrickson's approach to preparation, relentless, methodical, and detail-oriented, might influence training regimens, film sessions, and even in-game adjustments, turning Washington's defensive unit into a finely tuned, reactive, and unpredictable force. Observers are projecting that offenses across the league, particularly divisional rivals, will face new challenges as quarterbacks are forced to account for his unique timing, burst off the edge, and ability to manipulate offensive line schemes with subtle techniques that don't always show up on the stat sheet. Social media debates are proliferating, with fans creating highlight reels, imagining key sacks, game-changing pressures, and scenarios where Hendrickson alters the momentum of crucial games. Beyond the X's and O's, the narrative hints at psychological warfare, where the mere anticipation of his presence forces hesitation and second-guessing among opposing offensive coordinators. Rumors also swirl that this signing could trigger additional moves, as Washington signals to the league that it is now a destination where elite defensive players can thrive, potentially reshaping the team's future strategy and influence in the NFC East. As these whispers gain traction, the perception grows that Hendrickson is not simply a player. He is a symbol of rebirth, a harbinger of a defense that could dominate the league while redefining the franchise's identity in ways fans have long dreamed of witnessing. The excitement around Hendrickson's arrival seems almost contagious, spilling over from locker rooms into bars, social media platforms, and casual water-cooler conversations about the NFL. Rumors hint that the ripple effect extends far beyond game day matchups, influencing draft priorities, roster construction, and even marketing strategies as Washington seeks to capitalize on renewed attention and heightened fan engagement. Industry insiders suggest that the move has energized the team's leadership, sparking a creative resurgence in play calling and strategy meetings, where coaches envision dynamic pressure packages, stunt alignments, and situational rotations that maximize Hendrickson's disruptive potential. There's chatter that this strategic infusion could turn previously overlooked depth players into pivotal contributors, as the defensive identity reshapes itself around an edge presence capable of transforming every down into a tactical opportunity. Fans are reportedly brimming with speculative excitement, debating not only potential sack totals, but also how Hendrickson's presence might psychologically intimidate opposing quarterbacks, potentially altering entire offensive game plans. Some insiders even whisper that rival teams are nervously re-evaluating their own defensive strategies, sensing that Washington's sudden infusion of talent could tilt divisional power balances. Social media has exploded with mock analyses, reaction videos, and playful hypotheticals, creating a cultural buzz that extends beyond hardcore football circles into mainstream conversation. Analysts predict that the psychological ripple of this signing could last for years, shifting Washington's reputation from underwhelming defensive unit to feared, aggressive powerhouse, and fans are hungry to witness how this narrative will unfold on the field. The story being told is less about a single acquisition and more about an identity transformation, where Hendrickson serves as both symbol and catalyst for a team reimagining itself, blending talent, leadership, and strategy into a narrative that is as thrilling as it is speculative, generating conversations that will linger long after the ink is dry on his contract papers. Speculation has reached a fever pitch about how Hendrickson will integrate into Washington's defensive schemes, with rumors suggesting an almost cinematic shift in approach. According to some insider chatter, coaches are contemplating multiple roles for him, from primary pass rush specialist to occasional spy and coverage schemes, providing versatility that could confound offensive coordinators who have grown accustomed to predictable tendencies. Fans and analysts alike are constructing elaborate hypothetical matchups, debating how Hendrickson might disrupt elite quarterbacks, chase mobile playmakers, and collapse pockets in ways that could define key divisional games. The narrative growing in fan circles emphasizes more than statistics. It focuses on momentum swings, leadership impact, and the psychological weight a player of his caliber carries. Whispered conversations hint at a locker room atmosphere charged with expectation, where teammates are inspired to elevate their performances simply by practicing alongside someone who embodies relentless effort and high-level technique. There's also gossip about the ripple effects of this signing on Washington's free agency strategy, with insiders speculating that Hendrickson's presence could make the team more attractive to other elite defensive players looking for a serious contender. Social media communities are alive with conjecture, creating highlight reels, animated discussions, and speculative storylines that imagine Hendrickson as the linchpin of a team suddenly transformed from mid-tier to formidable. Even casual observers are drawn into the excitement, sensing a tangible shift in Washington's identity that transcends individual games. The cumulative effect of these rumors is a narrative of resurgence, where Hendrickson's acquisition signals not just a strategic improvement, but a philosophical reawakening, redefining what it means to be a defensive powerhouse in a competitive NFL landscape. The buzz is tangible, the anticipation palpable, and the storyline is building toward what many hope will be a defining season for both the player and the franchise. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Insiders have begun to speculate about the cultural implications of Hendrickson joining Washington, suggesting that his influence could extend far beyond the field and into the psyche of the team's fan base. Rumors indicate that the organization sees him as a figure who can embody the spirit of resilience, determination, and calculated aggression, turning a once inconsistent defense into a feared unit that exerts influence over games before the first snap. Analysts hint at a domino effect, where his presence may enhance rookie development, inspire positional meetings, and create a feedback loop of accountability and performance excellence. Fans are reportedly buzzing with anticipation, debating not only statistics, but his potential impact on the franchise's identity, branding, and approach to building a winning culture. Whispered narratives suggest that Hendrickson's leadership qualities are as critical as his on-field production, hinting at motivational dynamics in the locker room, film sessions, and even community events. Social media speculation is rampant, with fantasy analysts, sports pundits, and casual followers crafting scenarios in which he single-handedly alters the outcome of divisional matchups, playoff races, and long-term defensive reputation. There's even chatter that rival teams are nervously rethinking their own rosters, aware that Washington has added a piece capable of changing not just individual games, but broader competitive dynamics. The underlying rumor, persistent and growing, is that Hendrickson's arrival marks a turning point, a subtle yet potent shift toward a defensive ethos that prizes intensity, preparation, and psychological edge, potentially redefining Washington's identity for seasons to come. Observers suggest that this narrative of resurgence will dominate headlines, conversations, and debates, transforming the perception of the franchise from one of struggle to one of strategic, potentially dominant ambition. Discussion in insider circles has also begun to focus on the long-term implications of this signing, with rumors suggesting that Hendrickson could become a central figure in Washington's identity for years. Analysts whisper that the move was meticulously planned to not only address immediate defensive needs, but also to set a foundation for sustained competitiveness. Speculation indicates that Hendrickson's integration could inspire younger players, catalyze innovative coaching strategies, and create a culture of accountability that extends across all levels of the team. Fans are already imagining scenarios where his presence alters divisional power dynamics, generates highlight reel plays, and even shifts narratives about Washington's relevance in the NFL. Social media communities are abuzz with debates, reaction videos, and fantasy speculation, often amplifying the perceived magnitude of the signing far beyond what traditional metrics might suggest. The rumor mill hints at psychological advantages as well, where the threat of Hendrickson's edge rush could disrupt opposing game plans even before the first play of the game. Insiders also suggest potential ripple effects on future free agency, draft decisions, and contract negotiations, as the team now possesses a marquee defensive talent that could attract complementary pieces. The broader narrative being constructed paints Washington as a team reclaiming identity and ambition, with Hendrickson as the fulcrum of a transformation designed to elevate performance, reputation, and strategic stature. Rumors further hint that rival teams are quietly monitoring every move, aware that Washington may have shifted from rebuilding to a state of calculated dominance, with potential long-term effects on league hierarchies, media narratives, and fan engagement. The underlying message across the speculative chatter is unmistakable. Washington is not just adding a player. It's signaling a renewed commitment to excellence, aggression, and defensive rebirth, reshaping conversations in NFL circles in ways that may resonate for years to come. Fans and analysts are feverishly dissecting every aspect of Hendrickson's rumored arrival, from potential snap counts to his influence on rotational strategies and defensive formations. Insider chatter suggests that the team is envisioning a multidimensional defensive approach, leveraging Hendrickson's versatility to create confusion, mismatches, and sustain pressure on opposing offenses. There's speculation that his presence could allow coordinators to experiment with exotic fronts, disguised coverages, and stunt packages previously deemed too risky, turning Washington's defense into a laboratory of aggression and unpredictability. Social media discussions range from highlight compilations of past seasons to playful hypotheticals imagining Hendrickson in clutch situations, sparking conversations that blur the lines between fandom and analytical anticipation. Rumors also hint at locker room dynamics shifting as veterans adjust to a new leadership figure and younger players soak up lessons in preparation, technique, and mental toughness. The broader narrative suggests that Washington could emerge not just as a playoff contender, but as a team capable of intimidating opponents on a psychological level, altering game plans and strategies across the league. Analysts point to the potential for a domino effect in free agency and draft decisions, as the team signals seriousness and ambition to prospective talents. The buzz paints a picture of resurgence, identity reconstruction, and strategic foresight, with Hendrickson's addition acting as a linchpin for a transformation that blends talent, leadership, and tactical innovation. Speculative whispers in media circles suggest that this is a turning point, not only in terms of personnel, but in shaping Washington's defensive philosophy, psychological impact, and competitive narrative in ways that may define the team's trajectory for seasons to come. As the rumor mill continues to churn, discussions increasingly focus on the symbolic weight of Hendrickson joining Washington, with insiders suggesting that his acquisition represents a deliberate effort to redefine the team's identity. Whispered narratives posit that he embodies qualities the organization values: relentless pursuit, technical mastery, and the ability to elevate teammates through leadership and example. Analysts speculate on strategic consequences, envisioning defensive schemes that capitalize on his explosiveness, versatility, and football IQ, generating mismatches and forcing errors from opposing offenses. Social media buzz amplifies every scenario, from highlight reels to debates on snap counts, creating a shared fan experience charged with anticipation and excitement. Sources hint at potential psychological ramifications for rival quarterbacks, as the mere threat of Hendrickson's presence may alter decision-making and tempo, even before the first play of a series. Fans speculate on broader implications, including the potential to attract complementary free agents, impact draft strategy, and reshape positional battles within the roster. Rumors emphasize not just immediate defensive improvement, but the cultivation of a mindset that prizes discipline, intensity, and calculated aggression. Observers suggest that this narrative is not confined to games alone. It extends to practice culture, film study, and team identity, positioning Washington as a destination where elite players thrive and systems flourish. The overarching story, fueled by whispers and speculative chatter, paints Hendrickson as more than a player. He is a harbinger of defensive renaissance, a symbol of cultural and tactical rebirth, and a potential catalyst for a franchise seeking to reclaim prominence and respect in the NFL hierarchy. Finally, speculation has solidified into a compelling narrative that positions Hendrickson as the centerpiece of Washington's defensive transformation, with rumors suggesting that his influence will permeate every facet of the team. Sources hint at plans to integrate him into complex blitz schemes, rotational strategies, and matchup-specific designs that maximize his disruptive impact, creating scenarios that could redefine the balance of power within the division. Analysts whisper about the psychological edge he provides, noting that elite quarterbacks may hesitate, offensive coordinators may overcompensate, and defensive teammates may find renewed energy and confidence simply by practicing alongside him. Fans have latched onto every rumor, dissecting potential matchups, projecting sack totals, and imagining momentum-changing plays that could alter playoff trajectories. Insider chatter even hints at broader organizational shifts, where leadership strategies, coaching philosophies, and talent acquisition approaches may evolve around the presence of a player who embodies both skill and leadership. Social media is alive with speculation, analyses, and playful debates that blur the lines between rumor and expectation, feeding a cultural narrative of excitement, transformation, and renewed ambition. Whispered insights suggest that this is more than a signing. It is a declaration of intent, signaling to the league and fans alike that Washington aims to reclaim a defensive identity characterized by intensity, adaptability, and dominance. The narrative constructs Hendrickson as both a tangible asset and symbolic figure, representing a potential turning point where Washington emerges from years of mediocrity into a team capable of altering perceptions, winning key matchups, and inspiring a franchise-wide resurgence. The rumors, whispers, and speculations converge into a story that feels cinematic, charged with anticipation, and brimming with potential, creating a sense of excitement that could carry Washington's defensive narrative well beyond the signing itself, establishing a foundation for both immediate impact and long-term legacy. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.